Greetings, boys and girls. In today's video, we are going to be solving measurement problems involving time. Okay, so when you think about time, you're going to think about years and months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds. All of those things are what we use to measure time. Now, when we get ready to solve these problems, the good news is we're going to be using our STAR reference materials. So you're going to have a sheet of paper when you do take the STAR test that gives you these conversions so you don't have to memorize them. And so I'm going to be referring to them the entire time that I'm doing this video just so that we see what we need is right here. And we're just going to be going from one unit to another. Okay? So in the first problem, we have 2 minutes and we're trying to figure out how many seconds that is. Well, let's look right over here at our conversion guide. And they tell us that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So if I had 2 minutes, I would simply think of multiplying 1 times 2, okay, to get to 2 minutes, and then I'm going to multiply 60 times 2 to get my number of seconds. One thing I can think of is if I was creating a chart, I could think of 1 minute would be 60 seconds, 2 minutes would be 120 seconds, 3 minutes would be 180 seconds, and I would see a pattern. So for the next one, I am now going from years to months. So let's see what the connection is between years and months. Oh, look, right at the top. 1 year equals 12 months. So they multiplied 1 year times 4 to get to 4 years. So I'm going to think of multiplying 4 years times 12 months. So 4 times 12 would give me 48 months. So in 4 years, there would be 48 months. All right, let's move to the next problem. This time, we have 3 years, and we're comparing it to 35 months. We're trying to see, is it less than, greater than, or equal to? So I'm first going to convert 3 years to months. So 3 years is going to equal 12 times 3 months. All right, let's restart that. So 3 years is going to equal 12 months times 3, because 1 year is 12 months, 3 years is going to be 36 months. So now I'm thinking of 36 months. 36 months versus 35 months. Well, 36 months is going to be greater than 35 months. Okay, for the next one, we're comparing days and hours. So we go back and look at the connection. 1 day equals 24 hours. But now I have double that. I have 2 days. So now I'm going to think this is the same thing as 24 hours times 2, which would equal 48 hours. Now I'm comparing 48 hours to 40 hours. Which one seems largest? Well, hopefully we realize 48 hours would be the largest. Let's look at another problem. Thirteen says, Kate's pet cat is 3 years old. How many months old is her cat? Well, I need to figure out. I'm comparing years and months. I get to use the same conversion. 1 year equals 12 months. So 3 years is going to be 3 times 12, which would be 36 months. Ooh, I didn't do the best job of filling that in. I'm using my stylus. All right, let's look at number 14. Derek has visited his grandparents for 5 weeks every summer for 6 years. How many days has he visited his grandparents? Okay, so this is kind of confusing. They told us weeks, years, and all of our answers are in days because they're asking about days. We really have to get our mind around this problem. So Derek has visited his grandparents for 5 weeks every summer for 6 years. So let's first figure out how many weeks has he visited his grandparents. So let's just focus on the weeks and the years. Okay? Now, I don't need to, even though I see 1 year equals 52 weeks, I don't need that conversion. I don't need that this time. How do I know I don't need it? Because they told me he went for only 5 of the weeks during the summer. So he wasn't going for the entire year. So what I'm going to do is it's 5 weeks for 6 years. I'm going to multiply the 5 weeks times 6 to figure out the total number of weeks in this 6-year period. 5 times 6 would be 30. So he's visited them for a total of 30 weeks. But now I need to figure out how many days is in that 30 weeks. Let's see weeks and days. Oh, look. This one I will need because 1 week equals 7 days. But now we have 30 weeks. So to figure out how many days that is, we're going to multiply by 7. 30 times 7. And 30 times 7 is going to give us 210. 210 what? 210 days. So A is in fact our answer. That was a multi-step problem, even though they didn't tell you it was. We just have a few more problems to look at, so let's look at the next one. In 7 days, 4 hours, and 35 minutes, Michael is flying to Houston. How many minutes is that? Okay, let's look. They gave us days, they gave us hours, and they gave us minutes. And we need to figure out how many minutes is all of that. Even though they gave us days, hours, and minutes, we have to turn everything into minutes. So I'm already telling you, I'm going to be adding the 7 days, whatever that is in minutes, plus the 4 hours, whatever that is in minutes, plus the 35 minutes. Let's start with the easiest part of that. Let's start with the 4 hours. We don't have to do anything to the 35 minutes because it's already in minutes. So we're going to look at the 4 hours. So what's our connection or our conversion between hours and minutes? Well, when I look at my little star reference sheet, I see that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. But I have a total of 4 hours, so I'm looking at 4 times as many. So I'm going to multiply 4 hours times 60 minutes. I'm really multiplying 4 times 60 because we have 4 hours. I don't want to confuse anybody. And that gives me a total of 240 minutes. Okay? Now this is just part of what I need. Because look, I had 35 minutes and then 4 hours, which I've now converted this to 240 minutes. So I'm going to cross through that and put my 240 there so I remember that that's what that one is. Okay? But now I've got to convert this 7 days. Whew! How am I going to go from days to minutes? So I'm looking. I see 1 week is 7 days, then I see 1 day is 24 hours, and then 1 hour is 60 minutes, and 1 minute is 60 seconds. But I don't see anything about days to minutes. So now I'm going to have to do a couple of steps. I'm going to focus on one day being 24 hours, and I'm going to go ahead and convert the 7 days to hours. And then from hours, I can go to minutes like I just did. All right, so now 7 days, I know one day equals 24 hours, but I have 7 of those days. So I'm going to multiply 24 times 7. This is going to tell me how many hours are in the 7 days. Okay, 7 times 4 is 28. I carry my 2. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 2 is 16. All right, so that's 168 hours. That is the same thing as 7 days. But now I need to convert this 168 hours into minutes. So what did I do last time when I converted to minutes? Remember, I multiplied by 60 because there are 60 minutes in every 1 hour. This is going to be a fun problem. So now I have to multiply 168 times 60. Well, I'm going to multiply 168 times 6, and then I'm going to add the 0 to my answer. 8 times 6 is 48. I carry my 4. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 4 would be 40. I get to carry that 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. Oh, I was getting ready to put my comma between my 1 and my 0, but I forgot. I have to still add my 0 to the end. So I'm adding the 0 to the end of my answer. So now I have 10,080. This is going to replace the 7 days. Okay? Now, I am still not done with my problem. And I hope I gave you enough space on your paper to solve this. Now I have to add all of my minutes together. So I have 10,080 minutes. I have the 240 minutes. And I have the 35 minutes. I'm going to add these 3 numbers together. 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 5. 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 3 would make it 15. Carry my 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. I don't have to carry anything. 0 plus nothing is 0. 1 plus nothing is 1. So I got 10,355 minutes in all. Let's look for that answer choice. Oh, it's answer choice B. All right, I'm going to give you a few moments. I know there were a lot of steps in that problem. So I'm going to give you about 40 seconds to go ahead and get that done if you weren't able to keep up with me. All right, if you need to pause the video, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next problem. Okay, in this problem, we see that the circus stayed in Bloomington for 3 weeks. How many days was the circus in town? I'm going to give you 40 seconds to go ahead and solve this one. Remember, you have your guide right there, the reference sheet. All right, hopefully boys and girls, you were able to see that you were going from weeks to days. So 1 week is 7 days, 2 weeks is 14 days, but 3 weeks would give us 21 days. We just multiplied 3 times 7 because there's 7 days for every 1 week. All right, let's look at the next problem. So they tell us that this is a multi-step problem. Carmen takes 1 breath every 4 seconds. So just thinking about skip counting by 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16. She's going to take a breath every 4 seconds. And they're asking us, how many breaths will she take in 1 minute? I can't just make something up. I have to really understand the problem. So first, let me get everything to seconds, because I have seconds and minutes, and I think it's going to be easier to work with seconds because I know she's taking a breath every 4 seconds. So what conversion do I have with minutes to seconds? Oh, right at the bottom. 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So instead of looking at 1 minute, how many breaths can she take in 1 minute, I'm going to think about how many breaths can she take in 60 seconds. So she's taking 1 breath every 4 seconds. So it seems like I can use division to figure this out. So this would be the same thing as how many times does 4 go into 60? Or 60 divided by 4. Okay, well 4 goes into 6 1 time. And then 1 times 4 is 4. So I'm going to subtract 4. 6 minus 4 would give me 2. The next step is to bring down my 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. Goes in there evenly. So I'm able to subtract 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. So therefore, she should take 15 breaths in 60 seconds or 1 minute. Alrighty, I'm going to select my answer choice there. Make sure you're showing your work as you do these. This just gets us ready for what we have to do pretty soon. Okay, let's look at the next problem. It takes Aiden 20 minutes to walk 1 mile. How many miles can Aiden walk in 2 hours? Okay, so they tell us minutes, miles, and hours. Well, if we're talking about time, a mile, that's a distance, okay? So, you know, that's just some information. But when I look at my chart, I'm not going to see miles on here. I will see minutes and hours. So let's see if I see that together. Oh, right here. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Okay, it might be easier to keep everything in minutes since we know that it takes Aiden 20 minutes to walk 1 mile. So I'm going to keep everything in minutes. So 1 hour is 60 minutes, but 2 hours is 2 times 60. Oh, that's 120 minutes. Okay? Now, we're trying to figure out how many miles can he walk in 120 minutes when it takes him 20 minutes to walk each mile. Okay? So after 20 minutes, he's walked 1 mile, he goes another 20 minutes, and that's another mile. So think about it. If I was skip counting by 20s, how many 20s would I count until I got to 120? Well, that's the same thing as 120 divided by 20. I can ignore the 0 on both sides for a second and think of it as 12 divided by 2, which equals 6. Okay, so in 120 minutes, he would walk 6 miles. Now, I drew the box models just so that I can visualize it too, because I know sometimes it can be a little difficult. But 20 minutes goes by and he walks 1 mile. Then 40 minutes, he's walked 2 miles. 1 hour, he's walked 3 miles. 1 hour and 20 minutes, he's walked 4 miles. 1 hour and 40 minutes, he's walked 5 miles. And then after 2 hours, or 120 minutes, he has walked a total of 6 miles. All right, go ahead and get that down in your journal or on your homework sheet. This last problem is just one for you to try out on your own. It is a multi-step problem, but I want you to go ahead and take a stab at it. I have confidence that you will do well. As I close this video, I just want to make sure that I point out that we do have this wonderful reference that they will give us when we take the STAR. We also have it to use in class. I don't expect you to have all of these conversions memorized. As you get older, you will memorize them because you'll have used them so many times. But as a 4th grader, you're not expected to have them memorized. So you can use them when you take your test. You can use them when you do your homework and when you, if you just need to reference it at any other time. And I hope that you were able to see how to make these conversions. For the most part, we're multiplying. There will be some times when you have to divide when you're converting time. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next one, take care.